Our call to worship this morning is a poem called The Last Good Days by Lynn Ungar. What will you do with the last good days? Before the seas rise and the skies close in, before the terrible bill of our thoughtless wanting finally comes due. What will you do with the last fresh morning, filled with the watermelon scent of cut grass and the insistent bird calling sweet, sweet across the shining day? Crops are dying, economies are failing. Men crazy with lust for power and fame are destroying our institutions and engineering the profits for banks. It is entirely possible that it only gets worse from here. How can you leave your heart open to such a vast, pervasive sadness? How can you close your eyes to the riot of joy and beauty that remains? The solutions, if there are any to be had, are complex, detailed, and demanding. The answers are immediate and small. Wake up, give thanks, and sing.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you. Good morning. If you have found this community and you're new here, please let us know by filling out a newcomer card that we have in the pews. And so that way we can get you connected with the community and let you know what we have on offer. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ogden. My name is Chalice Gustavson, and I will be one of your worship leaders today. We are so glad that you are here today in this community that strives to be a loving, inclusive, and compassionate place. Today is Earth Day, and thank you for joining us for our Earth Day celebration. We know that there are so many other heavy things going on in our country and in the world today. And by no means do we want to minimize what is happening. But we would like to take today to not specialize, but today to focus on the environment and our relationship with that today. And so we're glad that you're here today to celebrate with us. Okay. So we do love having people of all ages in our community. And as you came in, you will notice that we have activity baskets in the front for little hands or big hands that like to stay busy. So feel free, and we enjoy all the wiggles and sounds of a multi-generational community. Now, if you haven't already, please put your phones on worship mode. And we are so glad that you're here today with us. Welcome.
Two years ago, I had the chance to pet a wild dinosaur in Vernal at Dinosaur National Monument, where they have this fantastic, amazing, giant wall of fossilized dinosaur skeleton, undisturbed, in situ, still locked in the rocky matrix that formed them. And high on this wall is the clearly identifiable skull of an apatosaur, which was a giant, long-necked sauropod that would grow to be 75 feet long, 18 feet tall, and weigh as much as the 4 heaviest elephants you could find walking the earth today. And further down, towards the bottom, there is also a leg bone, which you are encouraged to touch. And so I did. And through this long dead dinosaur's femur, I was able to share time and space with a creature that walked this planet 150 million years ago. And as I stood there, communing with deep time, I began to wonder what ever became of this creature's body. As the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen that had formed the flesh of this ancient fossil returned to the earth, is it possible that they had become a part of the plants and creatures of its era? And if they did, is it possible that part of that apatosaur became the trees that fed its offspring? Is it even possible that now, 150 million years later, some small part of that apatosaur still lives in the grass and the flowers that fill the vernal valley, or perhaps even taken flight on the wings of the butterflies that fly above it? In touching the form of this long dead creature, I was overwhelmed by the power and persistence of life. There's a movement of matter from life to life that some call the nitrogen cycle or the carbon cycle, that form a strand of what Unitarian Universalists call the interdependent web of being. And this term is so important in Unitarian Universalism that has come to mean something close to God or the divine for many of us, myself included. For me, the earth I walk on, the air I breathe, the stars and the moon and the sun that I pray to are all physically the body of God. And so when I say the earth is my mother, it is not in an abstract, philosophical, or metaphorical sense. It is an acknowledgement that every molecule and atom of my body was taken from hers, and when I die, they will all be given back in a sort of naturalistic nirvana until my mother chooses to give them again to a new sibling who I will never know. But I live in Utah, and so my sacred encounter with the dinosaur was not my only brush with death. Because every week I drive the roads along the Wasatch Front, where annually 3,000 deer are killed, hit by speeding cars. As they make their annual migration from the high mountains down to their lower winter quarters. But unlike the apatosaur, I don't have to ask what happens to their bodies, because I see it. We all see it. They're left to rot in the sun on the highway that is paved over the migration paths that their ancestors have walked for millennia. And as I drive the I-15, my speeding car keeps our siblings, the agents of the great web of life, the sacred scavengers, the coyotes and the corvids, the vultures and the vermin, from reaching the body of our sibling to return it to our collective whole. And so instead of returning to the earth to nurture the grass that nourishes their offspring, their bodies, formed of the sacred matter of my mother's body, are interred in landfills where their carbon and their nitrogen sits dead and inert. And this is a tragedy. But I propose it is not just a tragedy, this is sin. Not sin as punishment or sin as shame, sin as personal failing, but sin as rupture, a breaking of the sacred order. This is sin against the great web of life. And as I drive every Saturday the I-15 to go worship with other people of my Vaishnav faith, this is not the only sin I see. I see factories spewing filth into the air that we breathe. I see mountains reduced to pits to mine gravel to build more roads. I see the Great Salt Lake falling to new lows every year to keep our lawns green and our golf courses lush. And I see a state capitol where we vote year after year to perpetuate a system that makes the rich and powerful richer and more powerful, while the weakest, the most vulnerable, and the poor among us are silenced through death and now disappearance. We are sinning against our planet. We're sinning against our mother, and we are sinning against our God. And the Apostle Paul spoke true in his letter to the Romans that the wages of sin is death. But life isn't fair, and nature is not just. It is not us who pay the debt of our sin. In Alaska, flocks of seabirds die, starved of the ocean that is now too warm to sustain the fish that feed them. In Amazon, great trees, the lungs of our earth, wither from drought and fall silent, releasing more carbon than they store. And in East Africa, parched fields refuse to yield, and children die of lack because you cannot eat the grains that do not grow, and you cannot drink water you cannot find. And in our own deserts here in Utah, the living skin of the land, the biocrust, is dying, not from fire or flood, but of being slowly forgotten. And every summer now, our elders die of heat as our workers faint on the job, and our lungs burn with ozone and wildfire smoke. This is the cost. This is the wage of our sin. Not the loss of beauty, but a loss of security and belonging. The loss of a sacred rhythm where life feeds life and death serves a purpose. We're living through the loss of reciprocity and the breaking of a circle that leaves the body of deer dead and interred, their carbon inert, not able to find new life, and the grass that would nurture generations of its offspring or take flight on the wings of a butterfly. I'll play all of it.
Morning. In September of last year, UUs around the world got together to hold an environmental revival. It was a 2-day event with a Saturday workshop and a Sunday service. The workshop was a 5-part conversation about what an ideal world would look like, taking into account the environment, social justice, our relationships with the earth, and with other humans. Here at the UUCO, we decided that we would stretch these conversations into a 5 RE or religious exploration workshops. And after some fits and starts, we were able to begin this in January of this year. We started by envisioning our world where the sky was the limit. Organic high-rise urban farms powered by solar energy. You got it. High-speed rail. You bet. Wildlife corridors for every road and smaller self-sufficient communities where we are all seen and heard. We hear you. The creative ideas were awesome, and you can see our collective vision hanging in the hallway, brought to life by my little minimal drawing skills. I have a bachelor's of science, not a bachelor's of arts. So we also had conversations about our challenging realities and the ugly truths that we are dealing with in the here and now. The dying Great Salt Lake, our air pollution, mass species extinctions, and the indifference of politicians and the elite. But we also brainstormed ideas on what we could do to solve these problems with the resources we already have available. A little creativity goes a long way. And when you get a group of passionate and caring people together, the ideas flow and feed off one another and grow. You can also see these ideas hanging in our hallway in some kind of environmentally themed murder board. Think beautiful mind. I have really enjoyed facilitating these conversations as our environmental ministry representative. Our discussions have been educational and inspiring. They have also been silly and fun at times. And I don't know about y'all, but I could really use some laughter and silliness right now. As an atheist, the natural world is as close to any kind of deity that I can believe in. As a scientist, the awe and wonder I feel for how amazing our world is and the intricate beauty of how it functions is as close to the spiritual as I tend to feel. And when it comes to humbling experiences that make you feel insignificant, try studying organic chemistry. This deity, the environment, and our relationship as humans with it is such a huge and fraught topic. There are so many things that we as a species have done that demonstrate that we are the toxic ones in this relationship. Our RE conversations about the environment have brought up so many things in regards to our relationship with the earth. And one of those ideas that I would like to expand a little bit on today is the idea of reciprocity. One of the toxic ideas that modern society has about our planet is that it is a product to be bought and consumed. The resources we take from the earth, be they minerals, timber, or food, are things to be purchased. And because they are purchases, we own these things and do with them as we please. In indigenous cultures, the earth is not a thing to be bought or exploited, but a living being that we are in relationship with. What we receive from the planet are gifts, and because they are gifts, they are to be cherished and appreciated, not to be wasted or tossed aside like a cheap toy from the dollar store. To quote Dr. Robin Wall Kimmerer, the author of Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom and Scientific Knowledge in the Teaching of Plants, she says gifts from the earth or from each other establish a particular relationship, an obligation of sorts to give, to receive, and to reciprocate. She uses the example of a pair of wool socks from the store. You may feel grateful for the sheep that grew the wool or the worker who ran the knitting machine, but you have no inherent obligation to those socks as a commodity, as private property. However, what if those socks were hand knit by a good friend? How would you treat them then? A gift creates an ongoing relationship. You will thank your friend, wear them when they visit you, and no doubt reciprocate that gift with something from you to them. And as someone who knits, and I make you something, and you don't respect that, you're not getting anything else in the future. My husband once accidentally felted a hand-knit baby alpaca hat that I knit for him. He was cut off for a couple of years. Just so you know. Okay, Nitai's nodding because we're both knitters. How much different would our world be if we moved from a private ownership view of the planet to one in which we were in relationship with it, a reciprocal relationship? What would our attitudes be towards food waste when we acknowledge each plant and creature that gave its life so that we may live? How would we approach the extraction and use of fossil fuels when we thanked the dead dinosaurs who created the gas in our cars with our very own decaying bodies? What would the world look like if we gave back to the planet as much as we took? In native cultures, to be wealthy was to have enough to share with your neighbors. It is the honored one who gives the gifts, who shares their good fortune with everyone in the circle. During the summertime or the time of plenty, the Potawatomi tribe gets together for powwows and they celebrate the mini dewak, the traditional giveaway. The host of the powwow provides gifts for all those who have come to celebrate with them. After each person has had a turn taking a gift, they get together and dance around the powwow circle, holding up their gifts to the sky. To quote Dr. Kemmerer again, in a culture of gratitude, everyone knows that the gifts will follow the circle of reciprocity and flow back to you again. This time you give, and next time you receive. Both the honor of giving and the humility of receiving are necessary halves of the equation. The grass in the ring is trodden down in a path of gratitude to reciprocity. We dance in a circle, not a line. We as humans have been taking from the earth for far too long. We have forgotten the other side of the equation. We as a species need to remember how to give back to our planet. We need to acknowledge our toxic behaviors and start to heal our relationship with the earth. I challenge each of us here today to take some time this week and to think about what you as an individual can do to give back to our planet. Perhaps you can regularly write your elected officials about your concerns for the Great Salt Lake. And next month, we will be having a letter writing workshop about just that. So, little plug. You can also commit to using public transportation at least once a week or start a compost pile in your garden. Donate your old clothes instead of throwing them away and explore shopping secondhand for replacements. Keep other household goods out of the landfill by posting them in a local Buy Nothing group online. Allow yourself to be creative, and you would be surprised what you can come up with. Whatever you do, whatever gifts you give back to others and to the earth will come back to you again and again. Let it be. Maybe so.
If you have ever had a compost pile, you may have witnessed a miracle. Because with patience and some warmth and water, through the alchemy of decomposition, the miracle of microbes and mycelia of our fungal friends, through the help of hexapods and other invaluable invertebrates, a heap of trash is transmuted into rich, fertile soil. And if you take it in your hands and feel it between your fingers, you can't tell what part is an apple core or banana peel or the leaves you raked out of your gutters. You can't tell what's the eggshell you broke to make a grandchild's birthday cake or the grounds from the cup of coffee you made yourself when you heard that your father had died. Somehow, all the joys and sorrows and indifference of your life, the triumphs and travails of the everyday, are returned again to raw potential, full of nutrients and fuel for brighter blooms on your favorite flower, for sweet sun-ripe cherry tomatoes you will pluck in summer to throw into a picnic salad, or for pumpkins you might carve in the fall that'll flicker with candlelight on crisp October nights. This is what becomes of what we lay down. This is what the joy and sorrow and coffee grounds can grow into. What you have is not just soil, but the culmination and continuation of something beautiful, your life. And the Unitarian Universalist eco-theologian in me cannot help but notice that our community is a lot like a compost heap. Because all of us who come here for the first time or the thousandth, I have a lisp, thousandth, should have chosen a better word. We come here burdened and blessed with the cares and concerns of our very human lives. We come here angry and disgusted and revolted at the systems of power that prey on the weak. We come here with grief and heartache and loneliness as our human relations are strained and break. We come here with helplessness, fear, and anxiety as we face uncertainty in our individual and collective futures. But we also come with so much hope and so much joy, birthed from the wonder and awe of our ever-changing lives. But most of all, we bring love, and we do our best to hold it at the center of all we do. And as a community, our lives churn against each other week after week, grounded in the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the energy of action. We begin to digest it and break it down, not by forgetting our grief or covering up our rage, but by offering them honestly and humbly into the sacred work of our own shared becoming. This community, like compost, does not erase what we carry, it changes it. And so as you come forward this morning, offer seeds. If you don't have any, we have a couple extra up here. So as you come forward and offer your seeds, I invite you to offer with them the burdens and blessings that you have come here carrying. Knowing that with the care of community, they can grow into something beautiful. And so I'd now like to invite you forward to mingle our seeds in our seed communion. Thank you, Suzanne. And if you are joining us online, there is also a discussion conversation that you are welcome to engage in. Please come forward.
So we're now going to do a call and response. You will find the words in your order of service. There's a little insert. And if you would say, I will go ahead and start us off. And then if you would respond with the we pledge to transform our lives. Okay. For our Earth, our ancient mother, blue-green planet of the galaxy, harbinger of lives beyond measure, we honor you with our humble presence. We bow with humility and gratitude. Pledge to transform our lives. For the plants that have sustained our bodies, wheat, corn, peas, peppers, and soybeans. For the live species providing rich protein, fishes, poultry, pigs, and beef, we offer our thanks for the circle of life. We pledge to transform our lives. For the waters that give us daily life, from ocean depth to rocky cliffs, from Arctic ice to beaches and small streams, from lofty cloud to precious cup at our lips, we offer our dependence. We pledge to transform our lives. For the mountains rising to challenge our greatest aspirations, for the deserts transformed in a torrent of rain, for the forests thick with trunks marked by rings of wisdom, for roots interconnected web, for the new life within the heart of a seed, our souls respond in awe. We pledge to transform our lives. For the millions of species microscopic in the soils under our feet, to the pads, paws, and multi-toed, to the feather and scales, for the feather and scales, for minuscule eyes only, open only under the moon's soft guidance, and for the lichens and mosses pushing onto the leaves and roots, we honor your existence. We pledge to transform our lives. For all of us descendants of the first primates, for those who sleep under the same blessed skies, for those who breathe the same oxygen feeding our heart, for those who need love as much as I, and for those who yearn for the ease of compassion's release, we remember we are not alone. Called by love for the interconnected web of existence, and I pledge to transform my life and yours. As you have received your seeds, what is one small act of restoration you can offer the earth this season? How might this seed remind you that even the smallest offerings can root, grow, and return life to the world? We thank you for participating in our seed communion today. And if you would like more seeds, you can come up after service and get some more because we have extra.
One way that we try and engage in reciprocity and live our UU value of interdependence is by sharing what we can of our bounty with others who need it. For the months of April, our plate money is going to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Logan, who is working on raising money to make sure that they can have a sustained LGBTQ plus center. And so if you would like to donate today, that is where your money is going. Also, if you don't have cash and you are interested in donating, we now have a QR code on the back of the order of service so that you can give online. Can I ask for 2 volunteers to pass the basket? I invite you all to rise in body or spirit and face the center aisle as we sing our hymn printed in your order of service as we receive the offering.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Thank you so much for your abundant generosity and helping our community model reciprocity. Thank you.
So I'm doing the announcements today. So today's sort of an overdetermined day. This 420 is not just Earth Day, but it's also Easter. So happy Easter. I don't think there are many Easter and Christmas Unitarians, but I think, well, I always like what Bill Hicks said about it. He said that Easter is the day where in America, Christians celebrate the death and resurrection of Jesus, by telling children a giant bunny rabbit delivered chocolate eggs in the night. All right. Today, as Chalice mentioned, from 11:30 to 12:30, we will have a Roots of Unitarian Universalism class, and it's going to be in the library. So join us to explore key moments in UU history. After the service, grab your coffee or tea and head to the library for an interactive class with newcomers and longtime members alike. All are welcome. We will be finally launching our UUCO Museum the first weekend of May. So please join us Friday, May 2nd at 6:00 p.m. for dinner, fun activities, and joyful connections for the whole family and even friends. Then on Sunday, we will be meeting here. So this is not a typical first Sunday of the month. We usually join First Unitarian, but this first Sunday in May, we will be meeting here at 10 a.m. for a strange and wonderful worship gathering dedicated to a creative reimagining of our future. This will be a very different from a typical Sunday worship. We will be sharing several proposals for our next moves as a UUCO community, and you won't want to miss engaging in the fun restoring of our future. And please note that Kristen will be here that first week of May. Best of my knowledge, yes. That is certainly the plan, and I think you can expect it. We're looking for help setting up for the museum. If you're available to help on either Wednesday, April 30th, or Thursday, May 1st, please email Marianne at admin@uuco.org and let her know. Oh, another announcement.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone who purchased artwork. Last week, I was able to raise, it's actually a total of $2,600 for the Utah Rivers Council from that show and from some previous sales. So thank you very much. This coming Saturday from 4 to 6, First Presbyterian, along with Grow Ogden, will be sponsoring an Earth Day celebration right here in the parking lot. And there's lots of activities for people of all ages and learning opportunities on gardening and about what Grow Ogden is all about. Our Girl Scout troop is going to be teaching kids how to plant marigolds. So I hope that as many as you possible can come. Thank you.
So, I'm Rufus Not Homeless is still up at Salt Lake Community College. I can talk loud enough.
They can't hear you online.
Oh, they can't hear you online. So like I said before, I'm Rufus Not Homeless is gonna be up at the Salt Lake Community College until May 30th. Then it's coming down. We've been promised about $50,000 so far. So keep the money coming for the River Council and for our church. And for my show.
Standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my drive and heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known,
As the service comes to an end, please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. I'd like to conclude our service today with some final words from Dr. Robin Wall Kimmer again from Braiding Sweetgrass. Highly recommend. We are all bound by the covenant of reciprocity. Plant breath for animal breath, winter and summer, predator and prey, grass and fire, night and day, living and dying. Water knows this, clouds know this. Soil and rocks know they are dancing in a continuous giveaway of making, unmaking, and making again the earth. Our elders say that ceremony is the way that we can remember to remember. In the dance of the giveaway, remember that the earth is a dance that we must pass on just as it came to us. When we forget, the dances we'll need will be for mourning, for the passing of polar bears, for the silence of cranes, for the death of rivers and the memory of snow. When I close my eyes and wait for my heartbeat to match the drum, I envision people recognizing for perhaps the first time the dazzling gifts of the world, seeing them with new eyes, just as they teeter on the cusp of undoing. Maybe just in time, or maybe too late. Spread on the grass, green over brown, they will honor at last the giveaway from Mother Earth. Blankets of moss, robes of feathers, baskets of corn, and vials of healing herbs. Silver salmon, agate beaches, sand dunes. Thunderheads and snowdrifts, cords of wood and herds of elk. Tulips, potatoes, lunar moths and snow geese, and berries. More than anything, I want to hear a great song of thanks rise on the wind. I think that song might save us. And then as the drum begins, we will dance, wearing regalia in celebration of the living earth, a waving fringe of tall grass prairie, a whirl of butterfly shawls with nodding plumes of egrets, jeweled with the glitter of a phosphorescent wave. When the song pauses for the honor beats, we will hold high our gifts and ululate their praises, a shining fish, a branch of blossoms, a starlit night. The moral covenant of reciprocity calls us to honor our responsibilities for all that we have been given, for all that we have taken. It's our turn now, long overdue. Let us hold a giveaway for Mother Earth, spread our blankets out for her, and pile them high with gifts of our own making. Imagine the books, the paintings, the poems, the clever machines, the compassionate acts, the transcendent ideas, the perfect tools, the fierce defense of all that has been given, gifts of mind, hands, heart, voice, and wisdom, all offered up on behalf of the earth. Whatever our gift, we are called to give it and to dance for the renewal of the earth in return for the privilege of breath. May it be so. Blessed be.
Into
make birthday a sacred holiday.